going? With singer-songwriter Angela Jaco, and we're going to talk about her new EP that she's recorded here at the Underground Music Station. How's it going, Angela?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. So how was your experience recording at the Underground?
It was, if not the best, one of the best experiences of my life. I got to learn about everything that goes on behind the scenes of like producing albums and the songs that you hear on the radio, how much work goes into them. Lots of hours of just sitting and like listening to the same song over and figuring out everything. And I drank a lot of caffeine, but it was worth it.
That happens probably, I'm assuming most projects.
Yeah.
So tell me about where you were as a musician before you came to the Underground.
Before I came to the Underground, I had taken guitar lessons from a few different people, and I never could stick with an instructor because everyone made it seem like homework, and they never really gave me a say in what I was working on and the kind of style of things I was doing. And then I started, when I came down here, I could play one or two covers through kind of, and a few guitar chords, but that's all I really knew.
So you've experienced growth as a guitar player and as well as a singer and a songwriter?
Yeah.
So tell me about songwriting maybe specifically.
So I've always been drawn to people's music when they write their own songs. It wasn't even like a choice. I just always kind of subconsciously been drawn to people's music when I know that they've written it. And I've always been into writing and poetry, but when I started learning to write songs, it opened up a whole new world of like learning more about myself. Because sometimes I'll sit down and write a song, and like I'll sit back when it's done and be like, I didn't know I felt those things, but you know.
So what's the secret sauce? So what's the most important thing to learning music? So if we had to bundle it all into one small package, what would you say? Most important.
That's really tough because I really want to. I want to put it in two different ways, but I think that the main way is being clear with yourself on what your goals are, what you want from music, because music can be everything from like just fun, just like therapy for you. You don't even have to share it with anybody. That could just be you playing your instrument at home, and that could be super fulfilling, So like if you're really clear with yourself about what it is that you want from music, it sets you up for success, because at that point you can start breaking down the steps that are necessary for you to achieve your goals. I feel like a lot of times what ends up happening is people aren't very clear about what it is that they want from music, and as a result they just kind of put it on the far end of the spectrum. I want to be Mozart or something, extreme like that.
Sure.
And then they don't take the time to realize what is necessary to make those goals.
Sure.
So making clear goals enables you to like harness your discipline. That's
Absolutely.
The other side of it, is like being disciplined with it. If you want it, then you have to actually go get it.
Absolutely.
And put the time in. Everything comes down to time. And so I think that, clear goal setting, and then from there, just like organizing your time in order to achieve your goals. Yeah. Is the secret sauce.
That sounds great.
That's true.
So tell us a little bit about the Underground Music Station.
The Underground is this spot that I've become really fond of. I've been here for about a year, and it's been really eclectic in the sense that I've been afforded a bunch of opportunities to be able to coach people in a bunch of different positions in their musical journey. It seems to be geared to youth, in the sense that we're providing a space for youth to experience what it is to have instruction in the arts, and what it is to like have equipment and to collaborate, which is kind of a unique thing. It's not something that I was afforded as a kid, to be able to be in an environment where it's like so focused on music with a peer group as large as what we've collected here.
So it's quite the community.
Yeah,
so
it's a
you've
great
made yourself part of the community here, and so what did the music station do for you? How did it help?
Well, I've been going to the Underground Music Station for about 3 years now, and I don't think I could have accomplished any of the things that I've accomplished as a musician without everyone's help down here. I've grown as a musician so much, and I've learned so many different things.
That's awesome. Well, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone that asked you about coming to the Underground Music Station?
Well, I do constantly tell people, like, find ways to talk about the underground music station, whether it be with my friends and family in conversation or with random strangers I meet. I always tend to find a way to talk about it because I love it so much. Just all the people down here in the community that's been created over the past few years is just amazing people, and everyone's so enthusiastic about what you have to bring to the table. And I've made friendships with people that I hope last for a lifetime.
That's super great. Tell me a little bit about your experience with Chris, the engineer.
Is one of the coolest people I've ever met, and it was really awesome. I'm really grateful that I got to write or work with somebody who is as dedicated to music as I am, and it was awesome. He's so awesome, and I hope I get to work with him on future projects.
Yeah, you guys lived here, I think, didn't you? For
basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then of course Tim. Can't talk about the underground without talking about Tim.
Tim is a magnificent human being. I wouldn't be able to come down here if it wasn't for Tim. And he's been so supportive and shown me so much mentorship. And he's an all-around amazing human being. And
then Kyle, of course, like we mentioned, he is your direct instructor, and so you've been meeting with Kyle like once a week for
about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's been, so through that process, you feel comfortable now learning new songs on your own and things like that?
Yeah.
He kind of showed you how to play guitar, so to say.
Yeah, he showed me how to play guitar, and he taught me like how to correctly like put together a song, like structure wise, and with that information, it helped me write the whole album.
Yeah, really excited to hear it finished. So what has teaching here taught you, would you say?
It's taught me a number of different things. I think that teaching in general has taught me a lot of things. I want to kind of, I think that's the question. And teaching has taught me a bunch about music in the sense that it forces me to take something that I've been instructed upon or I've learned or discovered myself, and having to come across somebody with a different perspective and be able to organize those ideas for someone else to be able to understand. And so a lot of times what it forces me to do is to step back from the concept and look at it from a number of different approaches. And so musically it's taught me a lot, being able to look at something that may be mundane within my hands, but because I'm rearranging the ideas, I discover new things about it. Mm-hmm. So it's taught me a lot musically. It's taught me a lot socially in the sense that I've been given a lot of opportunities to work with different personality types. There again, I think that's kind of gets back to the perspective. People have different. They have maybe different vocabularies.
Sure.
And so that can be really. It can be an obstacle in the sense that once you encounter a different vocabulary, it takes some time in order to like come to terms with how the two of you communicate personally on a one-to-one basis. And then as you develop that, you then have a shared vocabulary, right? And you'll find that, or I found that given enough opportunity, you start to see how different personality types use different vocabularies to communicate. And so like I feel like I've become a better communicator through the opportunity to teach.
Absolutely. So you're primarily teaching which instruments?
Yeah, most of the teaching has been the guitar and the piano. That seems to be, I would say that's a strong majority of what I do here.
Cool. And so that's gives you a good different angles on different instruments and gives you that good community social aspect.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a tangent in the sense that I think that the opportunity to explore other instruments is really enriching, because the piano was my first instrument, but it's not the instrument that I've put the most hours into.
Sure.
And so it being granted the opportunity to spend so much time on the piano and the guitar has enriched my playing as not only as a guitarist and a pianist, but as a bass player too.
Cool. So you're also a touring musician. How do you think world traveling as a musician informs your teaching?
I think that traveling has given me perspective on what success looks like, because success can look like any number of things, you know, like, and there again, I should probably get even narrower in the sense that, well, what success as a professional musician looks like. You know, I've seen a lot of different people in those positions to where they're traveling globally, sharing their art with you know, the masses. And so not only because it's kind of a forge in the sense that it's a really grueling process getting to that point and then actually executing the global travel, you know. So like it's honed my own perspective, but it's also like enlightened me through the opportunity to pick other people's brains from completely different cultures on how they got to where they're at and what fulfills them as an individual. So I think that kind of is that's the bulk of it. The other element that's kind of interesting about it is like it promotes a really lean approach in the sense that you kind of have to cut the fat in order to make it work, you know, because there isn't usually an excess in resources. So you have to make sure that all the moves are really intentional and yeah,
I can, that makes sense. Sure. So I see you've also tried your hand at some engineering, making an EP for Angela Jaco here recently.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Angela got a hold of me through her instructor, Kyle. I would guess maybe 4 months ago or so. And we started kind of like tossing the idea around, and after listening to her scratch tracks, she had built, you know, a number of demos of the songs that she was interested in recording. I decided that it would be a project that I wanted to invest in. And so from there, we spent a number of months kind of exchanging reference tracks and listening to music that was kind of inspiring these songs. Cool. After that, like we agreed upon a set of dates. We took 6 days to really buckle down and try to produce these songs for her. It was fairly intense in the sense that like we were working long days.
Sure.
There were a number of days that were like from 8 in the morning till 11 at night.
Do you find that to be the most challenging part, the time itself, you think, or?
I think that the thing, I don't know if the time is necessary, because it's not necessarily super taxing, like physically. I think that like staying focused and like goal oriented, I think that a lot of times what can be challenging about the project is like, okay, now we've got these 6 songs and we've got to make them sound radio ready within 6 days. Sure. And like that's a big bite. Right. You know, but if you can break it down into these small pieces and stay goal oriented, and that keeps momentum going, and it also makes the time fly by, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the day and you didn't even realize it. Yeah.
That's, hey man, like sounds like an amazing project all the way around. That's kind of the meat and potatoes of all of it, really. You know, it's really cool that you took that on, especially for Angela's 15, I believe, somewhere there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's incredible. So let's talk about your album real quick. So it's an EP, and you recorded how many songs?
5 songs.
5 songs, okay. And they're all originals.
Yeah.
And so is there any one thing that you were inspired by specifically in the album?
Well, I mean, it's a conceptual album, and it kind of just, I think it's based around, it goes through the story of this character who's kind of a characterization of the person that I've become since I've learned to write songs, and growing up from about the age of like, well, since I was young to now, kind of talking about growing up and learning that learning like in this day and age, like when you're young, you don't always get respect from people, or people don't think you deserve to like share your opinions. So learning to write songs was my way of sharing my opinions with the world.
Yeah, being included. And you are how old now?
I will be 16 in December.
So you're 15. So you're taking on this challenge at what I consider to be the right time. Some people think is early to be, you know, thinking about songwriting as deeply as you do. But I'm really excited, and we're excited at the Underground here to see what you have in the future. So I think we can go ahead and try to wrap this interview up. Yeah. I appreciate having you, Angela.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being candid and telling us a little bit about your EP and the gentlemen that are at the Underground Music Station. Yeah. All right, have a great one.
Yeah, thank you. they say I should not complain. Swear I have it easy, but you never visit my dreams. So what gives you the right to say when you're the one to blame?